We are stoked.
I'm a terrible sore loser. I don't follow the rules.
All the bearded guys seem to lie. Yeah.
There are rumors galore.
I am so up and down in my emotions right now.
Retain salary.
Okay. Where there is smoke, there is always fire, etc., etc., etc.
You don't do it.
Been there, done that.
And we'll get into it later.
They know crap about hockey.
Come on. Well, I laugh it off.
I have no issue.
Here's the thing, though. I have nothing.
I'm okay with this deal.
There was no other option.
So now you have nothing.
We already blew it.
Win now, win now.
It paid off.
I will eat my pants.
Hey guys, it's two guys in Hockey Talk. I'm Pavel the Cat Sigmund, and I've got my beautiful, smart co-host who knows something about hockey.
It's Revenev coming at you. You caught me totally off guard. Man, that's how the players should go up. You know, instead of telling the guy, you know, he's a pussy, maybe they should say, hey, you're a beautiful stallion, man. Hey, great to be back for another edition. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Not so good after losing our ball hockey tournament yesterday in Div 11, but that's okay. That's okay. We laid it on the line, and the other team played better, and you know, it is what it is.
Everybody wants to know. So, in this ball hockey tournament, do defensemen block shots?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And I've got a couple of bruises around the body to prove it.
Okay.
And my knees got banged up a bit.
Yeah, we don't want to see them, please. We don't want to see them.
Nobody wants to. So, welcome to another episode 29, season 3 of Two Guys Hockey Talks. Hanging out here, chatting hockey. We've got a lot of topics to discuss, but before we begin, grab your bevy.
All right, man, let's do it.
We're gonna have a discussion. Cheers.
Oh, good stuff.
Evan, there's a lot going on in the hockey world. As always, we're trying to post as much as we can. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, whether it's our YouTube channel, our Twitter handle, or follow Evan at Revenev on Twitter. You know, he posts some random things about who knows what, and sometimes the odd controversial call. But Evan, what's been going on in the world? Where do you want to start?
Well, I just want to also push your Instagram at Color Avenue, man, for my buddy Pavel the Cat Zigmund. And he's got a new cat. I don't know, is the guy close now, or did he run away?
Oh, ran away. They ran away. They're kind of somewhere, you know.
Well,
cats live on their own little schedule. You know, the thing about cats, we were chatting about it earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone here has animals or cats, is that when they get close to you and they want to be friendly, they're all over the place. You know, they'll show their butthole, you know, trying to keep it PG to your face to show that they're comfortable with you. But the moment you pick them up, it's like, whoa, buddy, personal boundaries. Yo, too much, too intimate here. So,
and I just want everyone to realize Pavel the Cat is sharing why he's called the Cat.
Well, I mean, it's not like I showed you my butthole and you're like, okay, it's a little too much. Anyways, I digress.
Let's get off of this topic. This is totally embarrassing. Cut. Let's redo the podcast. Okay, but all right. Well, hey, we got a bunch of different topics, things you want to discuss, things I want to discuss. So why don't you open up? What do you want to start us off with here today?
Well, let's talk a little bit about Doug Wilson and, you know, him taking some time away from the game. You know, being the GM for over 19 years with the San Jose Sharks. You know, it was recently announced. You know, he's having some medical concerns. You know, and we wish him all the best. But you know, he's been through a lot in that organization, and he's only the second GM that's been there in their entire history. So it's pretty impressive what he's been able to do. I mean, they went to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2016, 2017 versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. You know, they've had some great draft picks. Right now, you know, it's hard to say. I don't know what your thoughts are on what San Jose is as a team, but they've got some weird contracts. They signed Vlasic recently. You know, they've got Carlson, who's played better this year. You know, they were in the hunt at the beginning of the year, and then they've kind of fallen off. You know, they have some pieces. You know, they still have Brett Burns. You know, they have Logan Couture captaining that ship. You know, and they have some bodies, but they have a lot of questions, and it'll be interesting to see what they do. And reports are coming out that they're going to take their time. The organization's going to take their time in finding a GM. And I can understand why, because maybe some of the ones that they want to interview are probably on Stanley Cup contending teams. The playoffs start in about 2 weeks' time. We're going to have our predictions. So if they want somebody within the Colorado organization or Tampa organization or whichever team is still in the hunt, they're probably going to do their due diligence.
Ooh. Okay, so interesting. No, so Joe Will steps in, right, as the interim general manager, but they're saying Joe Will's going to be part of the hiring process for a new search committee, which tells me obviously Joe Will is only interim and will be interim based on that information, that he won't be staying. So this poses the question. So all of you out there, start going through your searches right now. Who do you have someone? Put in our comment section right now. Is there someone that you can think of who will be available next year, either fired or someone brought in? I've heard mention of someone. Now it's not come from any. This is pure speculation, but you got to think about it. Is it even possible John Quenneville can come back into the NHL? I don't think so. I think that story's gone. I think his coaching career is over. But I mean, I don't know. You guys got some thoughts? Write them down. Do you have a name that's sitting in top of your head that'd be rich for a spot right now?
Not at the top of my head that I know that would be somehow associated. I mean, there are a lot of names always out there that you can tentatively speculate about who would benefit. But I always look
Peter
at somebody.
Chiarelli. I mean, Peter Chiarelli's out there.
I'm sure Oilers and Boston fans are cringing right now. But no, it's possible. It's hard to say who would fill that role, because you want to think about who's been part of that organization and had that influence. You had something similar with Montreal. You had something similar with Vancouver, and everything that happened in Anaheim, and now Chicago with everything that's been taking place. So it's definitely going to be interesting. We'll be our first to report on once we hear more. But right now it's just kind of up in the air. And again, I don't even know who's available, but given the playoffs, some teams can't speak to certain things. If people recall, Colorado, before they brought in Joe Sakic, were very interested in Kyle Dubas. But Toronto, or I think it was Toronto, didn't give permission to speak to Kyle Dubas because he was still the GM of the Marlies. So, things like that happen where there's a lot of interest in different names. I'm sure a few people will throw their names in the hat. Not to mention, more organizations are going outside of the hockey world and sometimes going for expertise in other fields. And we've talked about leadership, and you can apply it across all platforms, sports, businesses, organizations, whatever it may be. So it'll be interesting to see. We'll report it when we know more.
Yeah. No, and again, I know there's people looking all the time and seeing who could be the next, and potentially consider an assistant general manager could move in that's been there and seasoned and well primed and ready for a new job. Because you're talking about a rebuilding team that's got a lot of old contracts, and they're going to have to navigate. Even they're still not settled, even in the Evander Kane situation, and there's still a lot of big dollars that are left on for their defensemen. They got three defensemen with big dollars sitting in San Jose. They got. And
I need to make a correction. It wasn't Vlasic. It was Hurdle, Thomas Hurdle, who re-signed 8x8.
Yeah,
Vlasic's already been signed. So
yeah, no, that's cool. Hey, look at that, man! Your hockey knowledge is growing week after week after week.
It pays to sit on the internet, right?
Oh, hey, I just want to bring this up. I meant to share this last week. It's interesting. I want to talk about the state of Michigan and the production of NHL hockey players. So as of 2 weeks ago, unless something has changed and I haven't followed the newest stats, there is 172 Michigan-born skaters in the NHL that have played at least one game. 172. Wow. That's actually very good. When you're talking around the world, because it's not just North America, and you're talking American. So that's 172 born American Michigan skaters that have played at least one game in the NHL. Let's even think of this. Michigan State popularized the Michigan after a popularized Michigan State players now in the NHL. Can you do the Michigan? Ooh.
Becoming more and more trendy.
Hey,
it's
hang on,
becoming
hang
more
on, hang on.
popular.
Can you do the Michigan? Okay.
Seems like a Connor McDavid move right there.
Hey, if you could tell that's Connor McDavid, it's only because the back says it or you gave it to me.
Oh no, it was because of the lightning speed reflexes of how fast it was. Because I know you have old man hands, so you're probably slow. But
Okay. Hey, we talked last week. I like to get into a piece on coaching around the NHL. We talked about Jack Adams last week. Let's take a little time around that, and then I have some interesting stuff I'd like to chat about around coaching in the NHL. So, yeah, why don't you throw some stuff out there? What's your thinking? Jack Adams, who's the front runner, man? Who are the guys out there? And there's not many games. There's only between 7 and maximum 10 games for these coaches to get their name on that ballot because it's coming real soon.
100%. It's been tough when looking at the different coaches this year and what teams have been able to go through and what they've brought. It was tough to narrow down to a list of 3, similar to the Hart, where there's so many candidates that we've talked about. One of the ones that I have to give a shout out to is Daryl Sutter. What he's been able to do with Calgary has been very impressive. They're at 100 points already, or close to it, if I recall. Calgary is rolling on all 4 lines.
Yeah.
They look like they can steam their way to the finals. They are producing at every level. Markstrom is playing unreal. Their defense has been solid. I mean, we have some fans of Calgary here. You guys can attest. I think Daryl Sutter would get some votes. I would give it an honorable mention to Gerald Gallant just because of what he's been able to do with the Rangers. But again, you live by the goalie, you die by the goalie. What would they look like if Shesterkin didn't have the unreal numbers and if it was maybe just Georgiev, right? Or whatever the situation entailed for him. One of the ones that I think that doesn't get enough quality is Rob Brind'Amour. I think he's my other candidate. This is the 4th year in a row that Carolina has made it into the playoffs. There were some questionable moves made last year by Don Waddell in the offseason, getting rid of Nedeljkovic to Detroit, and people saw that as like he had a great season. And, you bring in Freddie Anderson, who struggled in Toronto. And I forget who the other goalie was there, but, they bring him in and they've had a great go of it. And I mean, Carolina, again, punched their ticket. They're going in. The other honorable mention, Mike Sullivan out in Pittsburgh. I know you love your Pittsburgh Penguins there, Evan, but given all the injuries that have happened, well, I talked about Carolina. I might as well mention, Pittsburgh with her little side bet happening, right? Pretty much have to give you something.
Yeah.
Who knows what that means? But Mike Sullivan, with all the injuries that Pittsburgh continues to have and continue their almost Detroit Red Wings run, where this is their 15th, if not 16th season of potentially making the playoffs.
Yeah.
How will they do in the playoffs? We will see, but they've been really pushing with Sidney and Malkin, even though Malkin just got suspended. But on the bright side, he'll rest up, as Mike Smith said, it'll be good for him.
Yeah. Okay.
And really, the only other one that I could think of is Sheldon Keefe out of Toronto. He's gotten that team going, and I think it's very impressive what Toronto's been able to do, given the difficulty of the division, some of the injuries they've gone through, and what Toronto is supposed to be. I think Sheldon Keefe deserves a lot of praise for how he's been able to kind of motivate that group, right? And of course, there's others that honorable mentions, but I look through it as the entire season from what we've been watching, injuries that have plagued the team, the bodies on your roster, your goaltending. And of course, Toronto lost their goaltenders. There's 2 starting goaltenders, 1A, 1B, Mrazek and Campbell for a while, and they still were, outscoring their opponents. They may not defend, but, that sometimes falls on the defensive coach. But those are kind of some of the names that I've been percolating on.
So you went through a mishmash. I didn't really hear a clear favorite there that you're thinking. Come on, man. Let's nail this down. We don't we don't want to see the butthole. We actually want to hear who it is. Come on, Kat.
On my nominee ballot, I am gonna go with
Just give us two.
Daryl
Just give us
Sutter.
two.
Oh my God, Daryl Sutter and Rob Brindamore.
Okay. Well, I'm not even going to comment because it's boring for podcasts when we agree too much. But man, it was funny you said, and then there's some honorable mentions. I'm like, I think he just went through 4 or 5 honorable mentions. But I think that actually really states the situation in hockey where there actually is some good stuff going on. I always find it interesting for the coach of the year. Is it actually, and like you said, there's all these factors that come in, and you got to wonder with all these different factors, why is it that most often the coach who wins is the one that's turned the biggest turnaround on a team? Not because of players specifically, but usually it's not like saying because we got a well-rounded team, say in Carolina. It's not because we have a specific player, but usually it seems to be the team that's increased the most in wins. And that's what I wonder. How are they going to vote the media this year? So I'm actually going to step out and put Rob Brindamore as the second selection for votes, and it will go to Daryl Sutter. So that'll make a lot of Calgary fans really happy, thinking that their coach is one of the best in the NHL. And unfortunately for all you guys up north in Edmonton where I live, I'm sorry, Daryl Sutter is a great coach. Now, hey, let me throw a little caveat. It's only a part of a season. But if Martin St. Louis in Montreal and Jay Woodcroft in Edmonton, if they had more of a season, unfortunately, they just didn't do enough games right at the very beginning. Yeah. That's the problem that we run into. So, but anyway.
100%. Now the other two that I will also throw in there, because I know again,
more honorable mentions.
Well, I mean, you can see them why they'll get voted. Is first off, Todd McLellan out in LA, who, LA is still in the hunt for a playoff spot, and nobody expected them to be where they are.
Yeah.
And Dean Everson in Minnesota. Dean Everson really has brought that team together, and there's not really a clear superstar. I know you kind of mentioned Matt Zuccarello last week and how underrated he is and his playmaking abilities, but
yeah.
I really think that Dean Everson has gotten a lot out of his guys, especially since they play like Rob Brindamore in Carolina, a team structure, and they all contribute, right?
Yeah.
Fun little fact, though, I think it was St. Louis, and I know that Craig Berube has been on the hot seat. It was just announced that Craig Berube has the St. Louis Blues have the most 20-plus goal scorers in the league right now. Right now they're at 7, and they can get up to 9 or 10, where they have 20-plus goals each, So you have David Perron, Vladimir Tarasenko, Ryan O'Reilly's around 17, 18, so he's coming up there. Pavel Buchnevich, who I think was a great trade from New York for Sammy Blais. So, again, he's really thrived in that system. And, again, people worry about Berube because his contract's going to be up this season, I believe. What's going to happen, right? And just think about it. 3 years ago, he took him to the Cup.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, well,
food for thought. You guys can comment below what you think, who the best coach is thus far this year, and who would get your Jack Adams vote.
I want to talk a little bit more about coaching, but before I do, I just like to tell everyone, hey guys, you can follow us, subscribe. So follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube. You can subscribe on YouTube. It's one of the easiest ways if you're traveling and you just want to get an automatic notification. Follow us right here also on Facebook Live, which we go our direct live feeds. Follow us on the ASAP Sports Network. Great bunch of boys. You can follow many other podcasts when you subscribe. They're on every level of social
NBA playoffs,
media. It's woo association podcast. No, joking. So anyway, follow us, like us, share, get the word out there, guys. Man, we appreciate all of those that are following. We're Western boys and from Western Canada. Thank you for following from the States and parts of Europe and the Philippines, over in South America. You guys are what keeps us going because we can see that fans from all over. And also thank you guys that joining us right here. They come on live and you interact with us. We greatly appreciate it. You can disagree with Pavel all you want. I don't mind one bit. So, okay, let's come to the coaching bit. I got some interesting information. So I spent some time looking some stuff up. Did you know that some of the coaches with the most games coached have barely won mini Stanley Cups? And let's face it, we rant and we rave all about winning, but is it just winning a regular season that we should rave about all these coaches? Or should it be combined with playoffs, or is it just the playoffs that actually matter? That's always a good question to actually ask yourself. So listen to this. Now, I went through 1,000+ games coached in the NHL. There is 27 in total that have played, have coached over 1,000 games. Only, ready guys? Dick Irvin, so all you old folks, has 4 cups to his name, 4 Stanley Cups. Then we have Daryl Sutter with 2 cups. We got Al Arbor with 4 cups. Al Arbor of the Dynasty New York Islanders.
Yep.
Joel Quenneville, he's got 3 cups. Scotty Bowman has 9 cups. I just realized earlier I called Joel Quenneville. I called him John, actually, I think earlier. So I want to correct that. We're both correcting ourselves tonight. We're catching our mistakes. Now, of those 27, 12 have never won a Stanley Cup with 1,000+ games. And wow. that includes guys like Lindy Ruff, who have been around, Paul Maurice. So interesting in the coaching fraternity. You know, there's not a lot of coaches that win, but there's a lot of franchises that have done a lot of winning. So who's better? A rookie coach? A younger coach? Or do you go with a guy that's got a lot of games of experience? Because that doesn't actually seem to prove. The only guy out of all of those that actually has won over and over that period of time was Scotty Bowman with 9 cups. No
Probably
wonder.
The greatest coach ever in the history of hockey, I would say. I mean, I could be wrong.
Wayne Gretzky of coaching, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, what he was able to do with the teams that he oversaw. But, you know, he had a bit of a temper, and, you know, people saw him in a certain way. And so, I mean, you know, back in the day, that was, it's definitely food for thought, because you wonder to yourself, you know, similar to the discussion we had on the previous episode, you guys should check out, of what makes or what qualifies you to get into the Hall of Fame, you know, and is it 1,000 games played? Because that's an amazing feat, you know, to be able to put your body through that, you know, to coach all these players. And it's not necessarily, as we've talked about before, your coaching skill. These guys know how to dangle the puck. They know how to do, as Evan alluded to, the Michigan. They all know how to do it. They all practice it on their off time. But the thing is how do you bring these young men together and teach them how to play a structure, a system, and work off one another, and help, you know, the superstars get their stardom and all the ice time, but also make sure the grinders are playing, and that, you know, everyone's contributing at a proper level. So it's definitely for them. Now, my only question for you, Evan, is I thought Paul Maurice was under 1,000, but I could be wrong.
No, he's over 1,000. He showed just over 1,000. Yeah, he was one of the bottom end guys.
Because I remember when he won his 900th game versus Edmonton, so that was very impressive.
Whoa! But, so you guys can go check it.
It definitely shows you. I think Peter DeBoer is getting up there as well. He's been coaching for a very long time. He's getting close. And you know, he hasn't won, and he's only been so close so many times, whether with the San Jose Sharks or now with the Vegas Golden Knights. So I don't know. It's still a very difficult, challenging job, and I think there's a lot of pressures from all sides, fans, team, upper management, to succeed. Yeah. Even your coaching staff, they expect things from you and decisions to be made, and that's a lot of pressure to put out. And again, there's only 32 jobs, right?
I just want to put this out there. By the way, Edmonton fans will like this, of the Edmonton Oilers in history and lore. Right now, Jay Woodcroft is 1 win away from his 20th win. He will be, right now, he's like 7 to 9 games less than any other coach in their history to get the fastest to 20-game wins. So, I mean, it looks like he'll easily make it, because if he doesn't make it, it probably means the Oilers have lost every game for the rest of the year. So, but I mean, so when you see that, is it really coaching? Is it psychology today? Like, what is it? Is it in-game management? It's funny. I hear, and maybe this will kind of lead us into the next piece. I just want to take a mention in on is I heard someone talking about the game between Calgary and Edmonton. Happened a few weeks back, and they were saying, the difference in this game. The difference in this game was in-game coaching. In-game coaching. It was a better coach with Daryl Sutter. And I'm going to say I disagree with that, because I think Jay Woodcroft is very good at in-game coaching. I think it had more to do with the players and the structure of how they play the game. But here's the thing. This leads me to another discussion, buddy. Hockey fans. We know fan stands for fanatics. They're passionate. People have opinions. They have opinions about everything. We know they got opinions. They got opinions.
They have opinions, all right. New word of the day.
On COVID. They got stuff on politics. They got, like, you name it. I mean, everyone has an opinion, and some are much better than others. I do get annoyed at some opinions. I try not to, but sometimes I do. And so if I get annoyed at your opinions on Twitter, just realize it's Twitter, man. I thought they should call it Twitter Wars, because it's really about us all disagreeing, and everybody gets mad. They totally get ticked off. But what I notice about fans is a lot of them are not knowledgeable. They're not knowledgeable, and I'm sorry, you're not knowledgeable. Quit acting like you know anything about hockey. Do you know what a 2-1-2 is? No, you don't know. So shut up. No, I'm okay. I'm actually now a lot of you are just gonna hate me right now. But here, you're a fan. You're fanatical. It's okay. And I know right now you're saying, Evan, you know nothing about hockey. Okay, I know nothing about hockey.
Well, there's some final humbleness from you. That's good to hear. As I like to think of opinions, they're like assholes. Everyone's got one.
Oh, I thought it was cats' buttholes.
Could be cats' buttholes too. We're trying to keep it PG. Yeah, I mean, certainly people sometimes speak up when they don't know. Sometimes people, aggravate each other and antagonize each other without even knowing it. And I know, you see it all the time online, and I try to stay away from that, because I know that it's easily like, you're not convincing anyone of anything else. And maybe we can get someone on the show. It would be great just to get their fanatical experience of what it's like. Like Sean, we had a few weeks ago, who was a big Tampa Bay fan, and he fanatically goes to every game he can to travel and see the Tampa Bay potentially win a third Stanley Cup champion.
And that's perfect. You know what we've been saying on our Facebook Live commenting group that are engaging? So if you're commenting right now, hey, you can put your name in. We've been registering your names, and we see who's coming on the most, and we will contact you. And if you know who you are, we will contact you. We're not saying any names, but I think we need to bring one of our Facebook Live fans in. And I would like to bring a fan in from some of the Facebook groups that we connect into as well. So let's see what we can do in the next few weeks here and get them to come in and give us all their great knowledge.
I'd be down for that, but then if they come on, can I get off so I can have a day off?
No, you got to stay on, because we need somebody to totally rant on.
To rant, okay.
Well, and we need to kind of show you up to show how you know absolutely nothing about hockey. And of course, they know everything, right? So
we only ask that if people are ever having discussions on our forum or a thread or a tweet, regardless of where they're at, that they're respectful and that there's no name calling.
Absolutely.
To me, it's beneath me when people start name calling or attacking character. It has nothing to do. Sometimes you don't know everything. Yeah. I don't know everything about hockey. There's still a lot that I'm learning. Yeah. Evan himself is the same, and we just want there to be safe discord. But fine, you know nothing. But I'm trying to give you a compliment. I feel like today I was trying to be positive with the sunshine.
I know. I went right there, didn't I? Well, you just said I know nothing, and then I said, what? And then you go, yeah, fine, you know absolutely nothing. So I thought you just can't. But see, this is what happens, folks. You say one thing positive, It got me positive to start the show. I said one thing negative, and now Pavel is dug in. And that's what happens with hockey fans when we're so passionate. So, yeah, we like to josh each other. We like to have fun. But you know what? In the end, we all can have a different opinion.
I have to say, and maybe you guys can share your fanatic story of hockey that you've seen maybe on Twitter, on social media, Instagram, Facebook. One of the funniest things I've ever seen was like people who get like faces tattooed on their body of hockey players. Like that is fanaticism to the next level. Like I don't even know how you commit to that bit. And
I want it on our show.
Photo.
I want it on our show, man. I want it on our show. We need to get a fan with a hockey face on.
So there was, I believe the one was in Ottawa, and he got a face of Thomas Chabot. We'll have to post it on our story of Thomas Chabot, just so he can meet Thomas Chabot and get a hockey stick from him. And he did get it, but he got Thomas Chabot's face on his body.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Okay, let's switch out of this one. I want to go. We're getting ready for the playoffs. Basically, what I've done is I've thrown some stuff. I want to throw some stuff out there for you, Pavel, and I want for all you hockey fans that are listening along. Some of this may be very normal to you, but I want to talk about best overtime playoff teams in history with the new playoffs coming up. Because I took the list of playoff teams potentially. The East, we pretty much know. We know, well, not pretty much. We know who's in. In the West,
it's just a matter of who's playing who.
Yeah, in the West right now, there's that little thing between the Dallas Stars, the Kings, and the Vegas Golden Knights. Essentially, that's kind of what we're figuring out. Those bottom two. Essentially, that's what it's looking like. Now, having said that, based on that piece, I want to throw something out here. So the question is over history. So I took a history of winning percentage in overtime. I think that we've learned that overtime in the playoffs is very, very important. Would you guys not all say? Pavel, would you not agree overtime in the playoffs?
As much as I hate to agree with you.
Okay, so now I want to show you something. I'm going to give you the teams that are over 500 of the current approximately 18 teams that could be in the playoffs this year, okay? Out of that, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm just on my screen, 5, 6, 7. Only 7 of the 17 teams actually have over a 500 winning percentage in their history with overtime.
Can we just applaud that you can count to 7? This is a great start.
Okay, so let me walk you through. The best overtime playoff team in hockey history in the NHL is the Carolina Hurricanes, and at a 0.6919%, so about 62% of the time they'll win those games. Nobody else is in the 600 mark, by the way.
Wow.
That's bad news for me if Pittsburgh goes to overtime in a playoff series against them.
So you finally admit you're wrong and that I'm going to win this match.
Yeah. Now, the next team is the St. Louis Blues, who I think will be coming up against the Minnesota North Stars. I'm outdating myself. The Minnesota Wild. So the Wild are very different. The Wild themselves have a lower percentage, but watch this. The Blues have a 581 winning percentage, but the Wild only have a 364 when it comes to overtime. I mean, it was, the only other teams that over the 500, Edmonton at 519, which is pretty good, by the way, considering all the overtime games they lost last season against Winnipeg. Winnipeg actually has the second best, but they're not going to be in the playoffs, it looks like. Maple Leafs at 521, and then you got the Rangers at 5. But let me give you a couple teams that are terrible. Oh, the Kings are at 560, but I don't think they're going to make it now.
Do you mean the Golden Seals or what? You're going back in time?
So the Panthers have a 20% chance of winning in overtime. That's it. The Flames, sorry guys, you only have a 30% chance of winning. Now, if you go up and you're hoping for the Penguins like I am, they only have a 45% chance of winning. And that's a team that has 5 Stanley Cups. Interesting. They haven't fared well. And if it comes into overtime for the Knights, they're only at a 33%. So interesting. It's going to be eerily interesting. Who would have thought? Ready? The Predators. This is the one that's interesting. They have the second best at a 58% winning overtime percentage.
Wow.
Woo! So
Yeah.
here's a question then, Pavel. Does history matter in the history of the franchise, or does only this year matter and you throw out all those stats of how they deal with under pressure?
Only this year matters. You can't base it off previous years because some teams haven't been in the league that long. When you take a team like Vegas, who's only in its first year, versus a team like Pittsburgh, who has been in the league for quite some time, it's hard to compare those numbers. Given the ebbs and flows of that.
So
Hurricanes are new.
Hurricanes are newer, like not as new as the Knights. So if the Knights are sitting at 33%, but the Hurricanes are sitting at almost 62%, you don't think that matters?
No.
Okay, fans. What do you think, hockey fans? Write your comments. I want to know. I actually think it does matter. I think it goes to show the culture of the team, man. I really do.
Not necessarily, because are you talking overtime as 3-on-3, or are you talking overtime officially as 5-on-5 in the playoffs?
Best overtime playoff teams. Only overtime from playoff history. That's it. Not regular season. Regular season is out the door.
Because there's fatigue, there's mental game, mental lapses and mistakes. There's power plays, penalty kills, all these other factors that go into it. Injuries, who do you have on the ice versus who?
There's all those factors that go into it, really?
What? Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Well. What about? No, I'm just arguing for the sake of arguing here. But no, if you seriously think about, there's factors. Of course, there's factors, right? I mean, there's a factor. Did your wife, keep you up last night? Did your kids wait? Hey, man, I think Ken Talbot struggled in the playoffs when it was with the Oilers. Why? One of the things that affected him was having kids. You got little kids running around. So we're talking about
he
factors.
Had one of his best seasons in the NHL when his wife was pregnant, and he played 73 games that season, and he took him to the second round final.
That's because his kids were born.
It's not Talbot's fault that Edmonton's defense fell apart and let 3 goals in by Anaheim.
Well, no,
that's not on Talbot.
No, man. It was Ryan Getzlaf pulling his pads apart.
That's not Getzlaf. That was Kessler.
Oh, was it Kessler? Okay.
Get your Ryans right.
I can't tell the difference. They're all a bunch of ducks.
Quack.
Okay, so let's go to a different. Okay, so let's take a more realistic study. Let's look at what helps a team win in the playoffs here. We only got about 5 minutes to kind of go on and whatever we're going to cover. Goalies. Percentage. We've been talking about it all year. Goalie percentage. That's why you guys think the Rangers can go far, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Goalie percentage playoffs. Do you remember how many times have people said, well, in the old days, the goalies, right? They had small pads. It was so much easier to score on them. I want you to consider the best save percentage goalie in history is Bernie Parent. He played in 67 playoff games. He has a 96.3, a 963 percentage save percentage. Now we didn't give this guy credit. And Rogie Vachon, he played in only one more game he had a 953 save percentage over all those games. Here's someone that Dallas will know very well, Marty Turco, 952. No wonder Dallas was winning those games. It wasn't all about everyone else. Jacques Plante, 950 over many years. Dominic Hasek with Buffalo in 93, a 950 save percentage. Now, let me take you to the modern day guys, just really quick, and then let's talk about whether this makes a difference. Frederik Andersen are the modern day players. In 2015, when they went, 940 save percentage from Frederik Andersen. Maybe he's got another year. Jonathan Quick in 2011, when the Kings went, had a 946. Braden Holtby with the Capitals winning the Cup in 14, 944 save percentage. And I just want to mention, even the one big year for Arizona, even though they didn't play well, but Mike Smith did. who is with, I know he's older, guys, but remember, he had a 944 save percentage in 2011. I know that was 11 years ago, but let's just go the last 2 seasons. Andrei Vasilevsky with the Stanley Cup, 2 wins, 927 the year before and 937 last year. I think who's ever going to win is going to be the goalie that has the high save percentage.
I would tend to agree with that. I think, you need a good save in the playoffs in order to win. You don't want to get outscored by your opponents because goals are so hard to come by. Even though the regular season we've seen an increase in goals, there could be. I mean, there will still be goals. Don't get me wrong, but how many? It's hard to say. There's so many electric players that are coming out that could score, but I still think it does matter, and I hate agreeing with you, but maybe you're onto something. There's a first time for everything. So,
which this will be really good news though for Rangers fans. This is really good news for Rangers fans.
He could steal. I mean, they talked about Carey Price last year and how he could steal around, and he did. He did that very thing, and that's why people are worried. And he did more than just one round. It's not like Montreal was blowing out other teams by a lot. They took out Vegas Golden Knights, and say what you want for who was missing. Carey Price made the save at the right time and at the right moment, and it got him. And you have a goal or two, and boom, you win 1-0 or 2-1. And
so, having said that, if we took everything for our playoff predictions, which we're going to do in a couple weeks here before the playoffs start, and we'll make sure we also post them on our Facebook page for you all so that you can see Pavel's picks and my picks and stuff. If you guys want to post your own, please post your own. We'd love for you guys to do that. Pavel's going to go over something in a sec here. Actually, go ahead. Tell him. What are you going to suggest?
I was just going to, hopefully next week we can review our, or when the season ends, our predictions for the standings when we made at the beginning of the year. And I'd like to kind of go through with them and see how right or how wrong I was. And then you could throw it in my face when I was extremely wrong, like having the Philadelphia Flyers in the playoffs, because I did. Versus some other teams that I didn't think would make it. So
I think our friend who came on our show early in the season, Jamie Basco, would agree with you. He thought he believed in the team really good. However, TJ and the grumpy old man guess they pretty much told us the Islanders weren't even close. They suck this year. Which I've been very happy to see how well they've been pulling it together. So I almost forgot where I was going with this last piece on the Final Four. So if we take out the team we think is going to win, and we went by who the goalies we think are going to win, I'm going to take in the East Frederik Andersen and Vasilevsky. That would give me a Tampa Carolina final. Your thoughts? Would you say those would be the 2 best goalies?
Yes, I think Freddie's having a very unreal season, and he's good. I think Shesterkin's still my one between him and Vasilevsky, just because Vasilevsky has that experience and back-to-back Stanley Cups, and because the one cool thing about Vasilevsky that he did in the play-in round is that he was one of the goalies that played consistently, and I believe it was 19 games, so not your typical 16. And I know sometimes there's a sub put in. It happens, St. Louis had it in their 2019 run where Jake Allen had to step in because Binnington wasn't playing his best, even though he ended up winning that series for them.
Good point.
So, that's one of the coolest. So I've always got Vasilevsky. I know Tampa's struggled in the last little bit. They haven't been looking at, but they're a playoff team. When the playoffs come, they turn it up. It'll be interesting and exciting to see how they play. So Vasilevsky and Shesterkin.
Okay, so if the Rangers could potentially match up against Carolina, I could see easily the Rangers taking them out. That would be that'd be awesome for the city of New York, man. New York Rangers, that would be beauty. Okay, let's go to the West. This will be our final wrap up, everyone. In the West, what are the 2 goalies that you think? Again, not the team, thinking the 2 best goalies that could perform in these playoffs. Potentially, what could that give us there?
Markstrom and Kemper. That's literally who I got.
Wow. Which is pretty much the prediction. Calgary, Colorado.
That being said, I mean, could Jonathan Quick, if LA makes it, turn it up? I mean, we know what Quick was doing, and you alluded to Daryl Sutter winning 2 cups. and that was with Jonathan Quick in 2012 and 2014.
Doughty's out.
He's had a better year, even though
Doughty's...
people expected Peterson to take that, Peterson to take that bigger step, Cal Peterson there. So
with Doughty out, though, I mean, you got to take that factor in.
Oh, agreed, 100%.
But
I'm just
okay.
saying.
Yeah, I got you. So I'm actually going to say I think regular season, Markstrom's been there, but I think come the playoffs, the pressure, not having been there, done that, and I see right now Cam Talbot has lifted his game back to 2017. Right now he's probably playing better than 2017, and I think with the push of Fleury right behind him, I see him starting the playoffs. And I could see actually a Minnesota-Colorado final if we're going by the goalie percentage making the difference.
Yeah, Fleury can also turn it on. He has that experience and he knows how to make a show of it. So I wouldn't mind seeing him again in the final. So
yeah, well, Fleury's turned a few people on over the years. He's a good-looking fella.
You know it.
Any last thoughts, buddy? We got to wrap our show up.
No, one specific note of the, I believe it is the OHL, is that Michael Misa has been granted exceptional status, and he will be drafted to the OHL at the end of the month. So keep an eye out for Michael Misa because he's going to be at exceptional status, something reserved for players such as Connor McDavid, Jonathan Tavares, and some others, and Shane Wright, I believe he got that privilege. So keep an eye out for him. He's an excellent player.
Wow. You have beat me to the punch on something I have not known. Love it, dude. You are gaining hockey knowledge by the minute. Okay, well, and speaking of that, actually, so my last thought I just want to mention to everyone is coming up, again, we've been talking about it. I'm actually thinking next week would be a good one. We're going to try to get in next week, and we like to talk about prospects. We got the NHL Combine coming. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming up before, because what I'd like to do is let's see if we can bring a couple guests on. I got some names. We'll talk off the show, Pavel. I like to bring a couple guests on to talk around prospects with us, and then in about 3-4 weeks, once the playoffs start, then I'm going to release my Revs Top 15.
And I do want to give a shout out to Owen Powers for his debut against Toronto. It was a great game, and he played very well. So good for Owen Powers because he really played exceptionally well that game. It was fun to watch.
Wow, a boy among men who looks like he's bigger than all the other men. Yeah, it was awesome. It was great to see. So, all right, man. Well, on behalf of Two Guys in Hockey Talk in the meantime and in between time,
keep your sticks on the ice. Remember to share, like, subscribe, comment, and follow. We love you guys. Stay safe.
Keep your heads up.